Welcome back to Suburban Sex with Remy and Addie. We have a special guest in this week's episode, our close friend, Anne, who is the founder of Nourish Health and Wellness Coaching. She's a certified health coach, wife, and mom of two little ones. We've been friends with Anne for many years, and when you hear her, you'll hear how passionate she is about helping women transform their health to feel strong, confident, and empowered. Because you know that's a crucial piece to having a strong sex life is encouraging a strong and happy wife. She's also a badass and shares some of her own personal story on this episode, and we absolutely love her for being so open and honest for the show, as I'm sure many women can relate. So let's get into how we elevate our sex lives with tips from a real life health coach. And welcome to the show.
Hey, thank
Yes,
you.
we're so
Thanks for
excited.
having me on.
You get a whole round of applause.
Thank
So,
you.
Anne, if you could just kind of give everyone a quick overview of what you do and how long you've been married and kids and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for having me on today. I'm super excited to be here.
Yay.
And yes, I am a health coach. I primarily work with women in various stages, but primarily postpartum mamas and women who are going through perimenopause. So a lot of hormonal changes, and so I really work to coach these women who maybe be lacking energy and lacking, maybe some physical and emotional challenges that they're working through. So they work with me. So I really work with the eight wheels of wellness, and they include spiritual, emotional, intellectual, physical, environmental, financial, and occupational, and social as well. And so when Addie was telling me about her podcast, and I wanted to share with her some of the stuff that I get to work with, and so part of the wellness wheel that because to be fully well, a lot of people get stuck on, I need to lose weight, or I need to, look a certain way, or they have an idea of what health is. But true whole wellness, holistic functional way is to be balanced on all of these different areas. And one of those areas, of course, is around relationships. And since I work with women and a lot of mamas, sex comes up, and there's issues like, if you're a mama of five, or you're a new mom for the first time, you go through various stages. And so these topics do come up. Mm-hmm. And so I was privileged enough to attend this amazing seminar by Amy Jogard. And so she is a sex therapist in New York City. And she went over these amazing steps that I have walked through, many of these steps myself, and these apply to a lot of my clients as well. So I thought your listeners might benefit from some of these tips, and I would love to share some of them with you and kind of my experiences along the way.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
It's challenging, though, just some of the things you're talking about, because the media sells us this one idea of what health is, and it's generally having abs, and it's having this perfect figure, and it's certain things that typically sell products rather than actual health. So as you've kind of had clients, are you deprogramming them a lot, or how do you kind of approach it, since you're talking about a very holistic approach rather than, hey, take this supplement and you're going to be set?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a handful of assessments that we do, and I really take my approach more on a functional side, on closer to a functional medicine, is where we really get to the root of the problem. So a lot of times people come in, they're tired, they're struggling to lose weight, they're not getting out much, right? Or they, like, for example, I had a mom who just had a newborn. Now she's about six months old. And so she's trying to figure out how to work out. I'm like, well, she's looking at the scale and she's looking just at food. And really sometimes food is not the only thing that we need to address. Like, how are you sleeping? What vitamins are you taking? How are you eating? Because a lot of people don't even, they think keto, they think paleo, they think every marketable thing. And no, it's really much simpler than that. It's
Right.
getting back to basics. And so one of the things, food, health, nutrition is so deeply connected to sexuality and the body. And so it's all kind of tied together. So we have to touch on everything to make it all work and be connected.
I mean, sex sells, so maybe you could sell a book, The Sex Diet, and everybody would buy it.
Sex diet, right?
Sex diet.
Yes. This is what you need to do.
Right.
Yeah. I know. So yeah. So I really take a more of a holistic approach and just try to figure out what is the root cause, because it's not the thing that's typically screaming the loudest. You're like, I'm tired, or, it's really working out the stress management. It's working out, any type of, other issues. I don't know, like other issues. Like there's so many different things,
Right.
that come up during sessions. And a lot of times it's not just I want to lose weight and I'm following everything right. It's they're unhappy at work, or they're home schedules they have, they're trying to balance kids, their husband, themselves, and they're not doing the self-care that they need. And so it's really just setting up working with them on their schedules, trying to make more time for themselves, alleviating, almost like decluttering their life.
Yeah.
Almost. So it's like they can focus more on them and make it a little bit more balanced. So just trying to kind of figure out what they need to be more balanced.
I love that. And you're absolutely right that it's every aspect of our life that does it impacts the other aspects as well. I mean, we are one whole body. We are one whole living soul. So if we feel like we're lacking in one area, it could be that there are other areas that are imbalanced as well. And
especially stress.
Yes.
Is connected to most of the the major chronic illnesses. And so if we can, and we live in a high stress world, and especially here in the US, we're overworked. We jam pack all of our schedules every day of the week, and so it's like we don't really allow ourselves to stop being in that flight or fight mode. And so that's really a skill that needs to be had.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The stress can get us for sure. And that's my number one blocker usually. I mean, I was just talking about how my favorite time of day to have sex is in the morning because my brain has not turned off yet or turned on. So when the rest of the day starts, I'm already thinking about the kids and work and this and that. Even if it's a Saturday, I'm thinking about work.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still checking my email. So yeah, it all pieces together. So let's dive in then. What are some of the aspects that we can do and have our listeners start to think about as well?
Yeah. So one of the main things, that I want to convey is, being able to really, reclaim your sexuality and live this empowered life, right? I want my clients to feel confident, in every aspect of their life. And sexuality is part of it. And so one of the areas that, to focus on is rewriting your inspired sexual story. And so what does that mean? So in order to look forward, you sometimes have to look backwards. So if you, there are many people who have had some type of, doesn't even have to be super traumatic, but some type of emotional situation that happened to them. And so if you are struggling to move through that story, like for example, for myself, when I was 12, I had some sexual situations happen to me when I was 12 and at 13. And so that kind of was my story through, high school and really into college. And so for me, when I was hearing this, rewrite your sexual story. Well, I lived a chunk of my life playing this or being in this victim mentality and saying, well, this happened to me. And so I have to, I need to be a certain way and do all these types of things to know I need to let that go. Like I have to let that go in order to move forward. Like that the person that did that to me is now gone. Like they're not a part of my story anymore. So why is it carrying with me? So like I'm not able to allow other people into my space because of what happened to me. So it's like, so when I hear this, it's like, is this story helping me today? Is what I'm saying to me like, oh, this, this is who I was. This is what happened to me. Everybody's going to be like that. Is that serving me? That's not serving me. That's not serving my partner. So how do I
Right.
let that go? So
So
it's
when you
let
have
it
trauma
go.
that way, I mean, is it simply, I guess most people just turn to counseling. What else
Hmm.
do you do to kind of put that trauma and turn the corner?
I think one of the things, and this, if you're talking about past trauma, what I find, and like, there's some clients of mine that have, suffered some different experiences, and just being able to voice it to somebody can be freeing. I mean, it just can be simply say like, do you have a confidant? Do you, it can be a coach, therapist,
Hmm.
ultimately, if you went through something super traumatic, you need some to go through some work, but assuming it's just you're carrying some weight and you just need to let it go. Journaling. I've even had some people write it on a piece of paper, burn it, let it go, and say, you know
Yeah.
what, that is not me. Thank you for showing up. You've served your purpose. Now we need to move on. But I think what is important is that you honor your story, like honor it, but move forward so that you can now open and allow yourself to be in better relationships and
Hmm.
better have better experiences. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so
And so
interesting.
yeah, so just to be able to like that let those hurtful things go, and then you get to be okay, so you let it go, you burned your paper, you journaled it, you told somebody, whatever your method was. Now who do you want to be? What is it you want to do? Rewrite that. Tell yourself, no, I am, allowed to be this sexual person, or I can do, have these kind of relationships I want to have. You now need to write it, like say it, verbalize that now, and say move in that direction and start being positive. So if my client, I'd be like, let's write it out. Who do you want to be? What kind of person you want to be, and that's the story you're going to tell yourself. Now we're
So
letting
I
that one go.
assume this is
Okay.
something you've kind of put into practice yourself. And I was just curious,
Hmm.
after writing it out and kind of creating it, how did that impact your sex life, before and after?
Yeah. So for me, my journey has been it's taken a while. Like it's been a while. So and honestly, my story lasted into my first marriage, and I think part of my issues was created some of the bad dynamic that was there. And honestly, it wasn't until I got divorced where did that really I decided I needed to let all that go. And so then I was open to some, different experiences that really opened my eyes and allowed me to be the person I want to be. And I'm still opening that person up. So sometimes it takes a while. But I think
Hmm.
being open, just knowing where you are and where you want to go is important.
And
So our
also for
listeners
the
are,
partner, real quick, Remy, I feel
yeah,
like to her
that's
point
exactly where I was
on,
headed, was a partner. So
yeah,
go ahead.
it from the partner's perspective, I mean, if it takes a journey, then for your partner, you would need to be patient in that journey as
Mhm.
well. I mean, if that's
Mhm.
the relationship and the even the sexual relationship that you want, then you've got to work with your partner, not against them, to make sure that they're getting to that desired state that both of you will be happy with.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely has to be a partnership, and it
Oh
can't
yeah.
So
be
my question was more of a
one-sided.
piggyback off that, was if one of our listeners happens to be the person who didn't have the trauma, but their partner had some trauma, what's the best approach or advice you might have for them, as their partner may or may not even be seeking help, but they've had some trauma?
Mhm. I think I would just ask them, if they are they open to share the story with you, and if they are, to have them talk about it, but find out where their safe zone is. Where do they feel most safe, and then what are they comfortable with, and what are they, what are they would allow in. Is it,
Mhm.
you know simple kissing, touching, cuddling, more, interesting things, foreplay, toys, whatever they might be interested in, and find out if there's any trigger points and they stay away from those.
Yep.
And then 2, being able to slowly introduce things in time. Yeah. I
Interesting.
think just
So
open.
Brad's approach at
open
steamrolling the clit doesn't work. You just can't go straight at it.
Yeah, you got slow.
We've learned that that's his approach overall.
Yeah. Just take it
It's
slow.
all of our natural
soft
inclination.
kisses. Yeah. Oh yeah. Soft kisses to start. But,
What was
but yeah,
it?
I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It was one of the movies. One of the lines was American Pie. You gotta preheat the oven before you put in the turkey. That's a great line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. We don't have the Viagra easy button.
No.
We are a dimmer switch, not a light switch.
Yes.
Unless you're Reagan. And then it's wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Let's move on.
Well, there's a time and a place for that too.
That's true. Right. That's true, Ann.
Sometimes, yeah. Oh my gosh. But that's so I think just rewriting your story, just shedding old traumas, shedding shame, allowing yourself to be free, letting all of that go so that you can then start your new empowerment journey. Like start to say, this is who I want to be. So I think letting that go, that's really what the first thing, that I work with a client with. And then really the next one that I love to talk about is around attracting desire and creating your sexual practice. This is such a fun topic. My girlfriends and I talk about this and really how to do this. And so attracting desire. So I kind of want to talk about this just for a second because Remy, you just made a comment about, slam bam, thank you, ma'am, or baste the turkey before you put it in the oven or something like that. And really as women get older, especially with women over 40 and over, there is a clear difference between men and women and their sexual desire and how they want it. Where men, it's very clear, they get aroused and then their desire comes like quickly after. Like you're like, whoop, I see something. Ooh, that sounds fun. I kind of want to get into that. Where women, especially as we get older, with kids and just aging, we think more of desire first and then arousal comes. And so the problem is we wait for the desire to come and we can wait a long time. Sometimes, not everybody.
It's true.
But we can just wait, like, oh, I'm good. I don't really need that tonight. I'm fine. Go to bed. Good. I worked with the kids, desire. But so what you need to do, and really is so for women, what I suggest is sometimes you have to prep yourself, understand that that's how our brain works and say, if this is something that's important to you and your partner, that you start cultivating that. And so, we have to be more like men in a sense of get aroused first and then the desire will come. So that's when you put together a practice of saying it's like almost like a bedtime routine, but this is going to be your sexual routine. And this is when it's like, okay, you maybe put on some music, take some time for yourself. You have a special toy that you really like, or just kind of get yourself in the mood. Then all of a sudden you will, you'll start wanting it more and more and more as time goes on. So I think creating some type of sexual practice is really helpful. And so for me, I do have to be honest, my sexual practice in my life right now isn't the best because I got 2 little ones, 2 and 4, and I'm more on the slam bam, thank you, ma'am type thing right now. But I am a work in progress as well. So I do put in place my own sexual practice, but it's one that I am working towards to spend more time. But it is something that you have to work towards.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, part of the podcast. So what helped us get started was Addie and I were talking about it one night, and we were just talking about how after girls' night, you've talked about it, you're interested in it, and all of a sudden it's way more appealing rather than going through your life and you haven't brought it up. So we thought, all right, well, what if we just talk about it every week? And plus we have a podcast. So.
Yes.
It's worked so far. It's worked pretty well so far. But that's also because we're keeping score at this point. Like, oh, well,
That's
we have
right.
a podcast, so now we've got to kind of push ourselves a little bit further. But for, the norm, the day to day, and I think it's so interesting, the arousal to desire for men, or at least for my husband. I can tell after we've had sex, he's more desired towards me. It, he'll pat my butt when we're kind of hanging around the house, or there's more eye contact. There's more of that interaction that I know we have more than when we're not having sex. So
Yes.
I find that very interesting because I need
Mm-hmm.
that to get myself into the
Yes.
mindset.
Yes. Yes. Me
Yes.
too. Me too.
So,
Yes. No.
write that down, Brad.
Yeah. No, my husband's the same way. He's like, gosh, I'm just so much in a better mood. And he's, same thing, kissing,
Yes.
hugging, all around the kids. And I'm like, down boy, what are you
Yes.
doing? He's like so amped up,
Yes. And he
so,
just wants it more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's the endorphin thing, right? I mean, there's like scientific research about endorphins that are released when you have sex, right? Did I read
Is
that
that
somewhere?
the same for men
Yes,
and women?
That it
Yeah.
lasts for days,
Okay.
Yeah.
right?
And some
Anyone?
people say sex is the
Back me up on
glue in
that.
a marriage because
No,
of
that's
those
true.
bonds,
Yeah, and they also say for females too, around working out, that you have this golden window of 48 hours, that after you work out, you get a boost of testosterone. And so if you want to hit the gym and lift some more weights, you actually get stronger for 48 hours after you have sex. But then you have to have sex again. So that's like your intuition. Every 48 hours you have to have sex.
Okay. I like that.
All right, we've heard it from the health coach herself.
Yeah.
I gotta play this
is a great
episode for
plan.
Reagan.
This is a great plan. I like this.
I hope Reagan's listening.
Yeah. We'll make sure
We'll
she
do it
hears
every
this
other
It's good
day.
for you.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Don't call her
Uh-oh.
now. Don't call her now.
Let's call Reagan. Let make sure she's listening.
I love it. But that makes sense. And good for us to just kind of understand that balance and how that works for each person within your partnership to know what's going to work for you moving forward. So if it's been a while, maybe the husband should be patting their wife on the butt a little bit more, like making a little bit more of that mental effort to get that desire moving in order to get to the arousal state, if you were not in that arousal state, if you haven't been for a while. So how do you reverse that arousal versus desire if you're not getting the arousal as much as you expect? That's I mean, the crux of foreplay. I mean, we know this, but you may just we've got to talk to our partners and figure out what works. What is it that's going to get us there?
So in your show, in some of the notes we were talked about before the show, you talked a little bit about, in one of your points, about expanding sexual energy. How does that work?
Yeah, so expanding sexual energy. So I want to bring this back real quick on sexual energy. Let's think about this, guys. Sexual energy. Think of how awesome it is. We are created, number one, by sex, and two, cells put together, exploded, made us. I mean, what energy, what amazing energy is that's how we are created. So sexual energy is in everything that we do. And so it helps us in our creativity. It helps us, just in our work, in our family, and it's wanting to be poured out. And so one of the things that we need to make sure that we do is we cultivate that. And so if you don't have a lot of desire, if you are feeling less energy, we have to build that back up. It's there, but we have to build it. So it's getting creative. It's painting. And what I love too is they have these adult coloring books. And so it's just a simple way to just be creative. Let your mind wander, just be open. Don't be around stress and worrying about schedules and kids. It just allows you to just focus. But any tool, journaling, getting outside in nature. I mean, that's huge. I mean, you want to connect with real positive energy. Take your shoes off, go walk in some grass, turn off, put your cell phones away, feel the air, absorb all that energy, and And so you want to be able to just, get that energy in so you can get that energy out. And so whether it, finding some way to just be creative and be in nature is just so huge to re-tap into your sexual energy. Yeah.
So is that something you cultivate on your own or with your partner,
Mm-hmm.
or how does that work?
That's something I think you definitely can do this together, but I think this is something for you individually to kind of work towards your own sexual energy. But you absolutely can do it with your partner, and that's probably even better. I mean, if you guys go outside and nature and feel, be outside. I mean, you can even sex outside, just feel the ground. You have to connect with the grass. You got to connect with dirt. I mean, you don't understand the power of the minerals in the dirt there, like, and have it absorb in your skin and your feet. Like a lot of people, it's crazy how a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be touched by dirt. I need to have all my shoes on. But it's like, no, what we need to do is take it all off and let that touch us, because we absorb so much from that.
We go to the beach a lot and try to take it all off occasionally.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Now you're connecting. You're getting everything there. It's so important.
That's true.
You got to get with the energy.
I don't believe I've had sex with what's your name again? Addie. I don't think I've had sex with Addie in the grass.
Oh my gosh! Remember your wife's name. Jeez. I'm right in front of you.
We haven't had
sir.
sex in the grass.
In the grass? No, not in
on
the
the
grass.
earth.
On the earth.
Directly on the earth.
Connect.
We haven't done that.
I mean,
there's always been a bed
maybe the
or
blanket in
something
between.
in the way. We haven't. No.
No, let go.
I think we need
It's
to try
all natural,
this.
guys.
Yeah.
Addie's like, challenge accepted.
Come on.
I don't think that's what my face says right now, Remy. That's funny though. No, I don't know.
Touch a tree. I don't know.
Hot Tub Bradley, let's go in the backyard right now. Show's over.
Try it.
Our backyard is not quite as private as I would like for it to be. But no, I mean, not grass, not sex outside, but I get
a walk.
Yeah, a walk. I get the whole and isn't there some sort of study around this? Some new. I feel like I'm seeing it on my Instagram as well, probably because my brother recommended it. But all about the energy that you get out of just walking in the grass barefoot.
Yes.
That's so bizarre to me. I'm sure there's a different energy from having sex barefoot in the grass, but that's a different story. I think Brad, she was just talking about walking, but whatever.
Yeah.
But no,
we always take it a whole nother level.
Of course we do.
You're talking about walking, really.
Yeah.
Just activity. Activity. It's all good.
General, if it happens to be sex, whatever. But no, I do think the creativity piece is so important too, because if we are not, I feel like before this podcast, I had no hobbies. I was so busy with 3 kids and work was always so stressful, and I really didn't give myself an outlet to allow myself to be creative. And I think a podcast is a more extreme way to try to do that. I think a coloring book probably would have been an easier task, and maybe I would buy one of those next. But this has given me a different sense of just having my own outlet and my own thing that I can do for myself, my own way to express myself and whatnot. And I feel like if we each don't have that as mothers, as working parents, as we're married and we are with the same partner for a long road, then we've got to have something that gives us that happiness, that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know, guys, we love novelty. So I remember that one party we all went to as a group, and all the girls had different color wigs on. So we took advantage of that wig, and that was a fun night after the party. The wig just created some unique novelty. So I don't know if that worked for you guys, but so wives at home, I mean, even just a wig, all of a sudden you can create a new persona and add some different approach. And I know girls, I mean, you don't want it the same way every time. A little novelty, touch here to here. You got to change it up a little bit. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Although some
the wigs are fun though.
Right. Yeah, the wigs were fun. That's a good reminder. Yeah, that's a good reminder to whip that back out. But yeah, I think there's an element of knowing what's ahead of you, and there's some positives to knowing what 3 positions we're going to take every time we have sex.
Yeah,
Because I know it
which
works.
well, and Addie, that really brings me to one of my last few points here, and that's developing developing skills, right? And also remembering to play. And
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And Remy, for your comment around different wigs and dressing up and having fun. I feel like we as adults, we forget to play, and we forget that sex is play.
Yeah.
We think it's this, sometimes people take it very seriously. Some people don't take it serious enough, but
Yeah.
there's like, people need, and another thing too, is I think we all forget that it's a skill. I mean, it is a skill. It's something we have to learn. I mean, we didn't come out the womb knowing how to eat or learning how to walk or even learning how to read. We had to learn it. It's a skill. Same as sex. I mean, just when we reach a particular age, it's not like, okay, you're at that particular age and now you know what to do and hit all the right buttons and have it all figured out. It takes a long time. And sometimes, you hope, maybe you'll have a great partner that knows a lot and you learn a lot. Sometimes you have a happy accident, sometimes, you just don't know. And so it takes a while. So learning to play and being vulnerable with it is super important. And have an open line communication with your partner. And I know during, our talk today, you guys have mentioned quite a few times communicating, communicate with your partner, communicate. And that's huge. But a lot of partners don't communicate. There's a lot of, goes back to shame. It goes back to different, feeling judged, no, just let it out there. Let go of all that. How do you want to play? Play with me. Think of kids like my toddlers. Mommy, come play with me.
Yeah.
I want to be like with our husbands, our spouses, our significant others. Come play with me. Come, let's go play. Let's figure it out.
Unless you're
Be
hot tub
vulnerable.
Brad, then you go from play to enthusiast to full on athlete. He's sport fucking, He's just all into it, man. He's a pro.
Hey, that's good. Maybe he can teach some classes.
That's right. Now, Reagan and I, we did actually go back in Dallas when we lived there. We went to an oral sex class one time.
Yes.
And man, that was something, because they had I believe it was a mango that they had me licking on, trying to learn oral sex the proper way. And they had,
Interesting.
I forgot what it was. They had some sort of fruit that they had made into a phallic shape for her to try. It was so awkward, but
it wasn't a banana? Come on.
No, it was much firmer than that, so you could really practice.
Oh, firmer.
It was much more fun to watch. I think it was a cucumber or something, but yeah, it was.
I bet. No, but I bet that was so fun. You guys went into it not thinking. Well, yeah,
because I have no shame, but
yeah,
I'm a sexual enthusiast working on being an athlete like my buddy Hot Tub Brad.
Oh my gosh, y'all are giving him way too much credit. He's
right.
gonna be way too excited after this,
right? Just be vulnerable. Let yourself explore and just kind of see, and try not to be afraid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
try that class. Do
being
it.
Vulnerable. We do throw a surprise something for our guests. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to turn this to Addie and just be ready. So it's time for you to be vulnerable now.
I'm ready.
Oh, we love it. We all practice our vulnerability. This is the part we're going to edit out as I look for it. Remy?
That was my intro to your segment that you're about to do.
Oh, good. I'm so excited to
Let's do it again.
Skip to this. Oonce, 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 oonce. He's bouncing. Do you see him? He's so excited.
It has kind of an abrupt ending. I need to work on that.
It is abrupt. Well, this is our segment called The Vault, Anne. So we just like to get a little up close and personal.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to ask, this is what he's going to edit out. I'm going to ask 2 questions. So you pick whichever one speaks most to you or what have you. But yes, so part of our vault is we get a little up, really, really personal, and just kind of get to know you a little bit more. But
Perfect. Let's do it.
all
It's not
right.
us asking the questions. It's the vault. So it can
It's
be
the
anything.
It's the
vault.
vault.
There's
That's
a lot
very
of
good.
questions that, man, are way beyond what we would ask. So it's
We
not
have
us.
no
Oh, it's
control.
not you. It's
Definitely
No, not at all.
not.
not you.
We
Mm-mm.
draw
Got
them
it.
randomly from the box.
That's right. That's right.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So, the question is, what was the most exciting place you and your current partner have had sex?
Most exciting. I don't know. I feel like we've had a couple.
Ooh, please
Do
do.
tell.
Please do share.
Yeah.
We're sharers here.
So, like, I'm all about outside and outside the home. And so we were shopping in one of the Allen outlets a few years back, and the mood struck me. And so we went to the rooftop and parked his truck and just had our way. So that was kind of fun. There's cars there. I don't know if people were there. Yeah.
I love it.
And,
Don't text
and
your
then,
hubby and
stop.
say, man, take her
Stop,
for a
stop.
hike, man. Come on.
Hold on. Back up.
Mhm.
Are you saying you had sex in the car on a parking garage?
Yeah, on the top. Yeah, on the top.
On the
On
top
top of the
level
car?
parking garage.
No, on top of like the top, like like it's like open, like when you're on the top.
Remy.
Just trying to paint a
floor
whole
of the
different
parking
visual for our
garage.
listeners.
And so we just parked on top of the garage. I mean, on the top floor.
And
then
this
we
is in
just
the back
parked
of
and had
like an
sex.
Back of the
SUV
pickup truck?
Yeah.
or pickup.
Back
It was
of the
in the
pickup
truck?
truck.
His back of his pickup truck. Well,
Dang.
not inside the cab. Like we weren't like outside. Like we weren't
Oh, okay.
outside the
I was
vehicle.
like in the back.
We were
you know,
inside, but we were
bed
at
of
the
the
mall.
truck.
It was fun.
This bed's
Mhm.
always ready.
Someone could have come to their car. I was
That's
like,
pretty wild.
Yeah.
like, hey,
I like
That
that.
is wild.
I don't think we
Um,
would have done that.
No. Okay, but question. Were y'all married or dating?
we were dating,
Hey.
Oh, there it is.
See?
Yeah.
but
Hey.
but we're not ashamed to go outside in our on our back patio on any
Okay.
given night, and when we go to Broken Bow, I mean, we hope there's no neighbors.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
Broken
You
toe.
gotta connect with that earth.
Yes.
Because that's one thing we've talked about is how when you're dating, a lot of the fun stuff happens. But once you're
Yeah.
married, it's like, show's over. You got me. I don't have to try anymore.
Okay, but show doesn't have
I mean,
to be
it was
over.
way more fun. I mean, it was way more fun before kids. But now, poor my husband. He's hit the trifecta. He got kids, and he's got me perimenopausal. I mean, I'm all kinds of hot mess right now. So we're working on it. We're trying to for a comeback right now.
Keyword
Just
hot.
say, baby. let's go
Keyword
hiking.
is still hot,
You're
girl.
outside,
Yeah.
life trails, anything could happen.
I know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're
Just
just
make it work.
phases. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is
So
fun to think about the fun, exciting times that you had when you're dating,
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's going to inspire both Remy and Brad now for a parking garage. Now we're going to just start randomly going up a parking garage. I'll say,
Yeah.
wait a minute. We didn't talk
Like,
about
where
this
are we
Well,
going?
I have I'm very fond of the back of the pickup truck just because of our football field experience many years ago. So
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I would be opposed to it, but I don't know if I'm courageous enough to be on the back of a pickup truck at like 1 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
ours was like late at night.
But
Of course, it was an elementary school football field that we were parked
Yeah.
on, doing it in
yeah.
the back of the pickup, but that was good times.
And
I will say one.
I heard you have a light bulb moment, and I feel like there's another one coming.
I know. I was like, speaking of when we first started dating, oh my gosh, I lived in this apartment, and I had this like running trail, and there's this park, and we might have had a couple of drinks, and my dad was staying with me for a couple weeks, so my dad was there, so we couldn't go back home. So we went to the park, and I was like, we all over the park.
Oh.
I don't even know who was there. I might have had one too many drinks that night.
Oh, no.
All right. Who's had
Sorry.
sexual activity in a park or children's playground?
Me,
No.
it's a children's playground.
I know. Wait, you too, Remy?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was like a go-to when I was way younger, living with your parents, kind of go to
Yeah.
the park late at night, and one thing
Yeah.
leads to another. You
I guess
making
that's
out, things
true.
happen.
As like teenagers, but it's more like
Yeah,
making
long
out
time ago.
and, under the shirt
Feeling.
kind
Not
of
these days.
activity.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So impressive. I love it. I love it. Well, Anne, thank you so, so much. You got through our vault.
Yay!
Like
Nice.
a champ. But all of this was so helpful. And I feel like as we post this and get more feedback from listeners and whatnot, I think there may be topics that we dive into a little bit deeper. So we'd love to have you back if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved being on.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
Good. Well, excellent. Well, until then, we are wishing you all the best suburban sex.